Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is time for us to start. We thank you that you are here today to explore the Word of God together with us. Let us pray. Baba wethu usekhaya ezulwini, nakho la sihlangane khona nabantwana bakho ukuba sifunde, sibonisane, sicetisane ngalokho okushiwo yizwi lakho, ikakhulukazi lokho okuqukethwe yiziprofeto. Isiprofeto sikaDaniel sibalulekile kithi, sivuleke amehlo Kristu ukuba siqonde ngokufaneleyo ukuba yini le ebaluleke ngathi isiprofeto, ebese silangazelela okusha kusibekele khona. UKristu manje siyakhuleka uzwe phakathi. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, sesifike ngqo okanye sesifike qathatha asho njalo amaZulu kulesi sifundo. Ngizokhumbula ukuthi last week when we spoke on this book, we did part 1. We're continuing with part 1 even today of that book of Revelation. We're looking at chapter 8 among all other chapters. This is chapter 8. And let's start where we left off last week. We were looking at the third kingdom. I'm sorry. Sibuke inqama. No. Inqama ibizaza iya ngasempumalanga, iqhamuka empumalanga, ibiya ngasenyakatho, iya ngasentshonalanga, iye nangaseningizimu nqama. Singekho isilwane esinye esikwazi ukuthi simelane nayo le nqama. Ande ukuba kuqhamuke impongo iqhamuka ngasentshonalanga, ingasadle inkobe zamuntu, indiza. Uthi umprofethi uyibona ingasanyatheli umhlabathi ngespeed ihamba ngaso, inophondo olulodwa oluphakathi kwamehlo oluqavile olubonakala kahle olugqamile. Sitheke isiprofeto sithi lolu phondo olugqamile, uphondo not inqama, uphondo lumele u-Alexander the Great, okuyena umholi noma umbusi wombuso wesithathu, umbuso wenqama okanye umbuso wengwe. Songena lapho, but sabuka inqama okwamanje. Le nqama ifika shaya nasingana impongo, ifika shaya inqama yaphihliza impondo zayo zembili, yaphela indaba yenqama, kwase kubusa impongo. Itheke ma impongo isizinzile, isinqobe ngokwanele, when at the height of his kingdom, then the horn, prominent horn between the eyes, broke off. Silapho-ke namhlanje. We did look into the encyclopedia, this one, Wikipedia, which said, I'm quoting, the wars of Alexander the Great were fought by King Alexander III of Macedon, who was popularly known as the Great. That is in brackets. They were first fought against Achaemenid of Persian Empire under Darius III. And we said, remember, this Darius is not the one you read about in chapter 5 of the book of Daniel. This is Darius III, not Darius the Mede. And then we pick up the encyclopedia when it says again, his untimely death threw the vast territories which he had conquered into a civil war. we'll talk about this civil war and look into it a little bit, not too much. And then it continues to say this. Alexander assumed the kingship of Macedonia following the death of his father Philip II, who had unified most of the city-states in the mainland of Greece under Macedonian hegemony in a federation called the Hellenistic League. We said now, mark that Hellenistic League because we are going to use it. You're going to see it featuring mostly in this prophecy. Mark that one. Please mark that one. Let us continue. We are looking now at verses 6 and 7. That's where we're picking off for now. Verse 6 says, "He came towards the two-horned ram I had seen standing beside the canal and charged at him in great rage. I saw him attack the ram furiously, striking the ram and shattering his two horns. The ram was powerless to stand against him. The goat knocked him down, knocked him to the ground, and trampled on him, and none could rescue the ram from his power." That is verse 7, 6 and 7. I mean. Now, remember this. In chapter 7, we noted the speed of the leopard, because the leopard of chapter 7, by nature, the leopard is fast. It can run up to 80 kilometers an hour. That means it can overtake most of you when you drive, because you drive you never exceed 60 kilometers or 45 kilometers at times. All your trucks, they are all beaten there. But this one can run up to 80 kilometers. And on top of that, this leopard was given 4 wings, not 2, 4. That means when it is already fast, it was given more speed and more speed again, 2 times the speed. So when you see the prophet there is looking into this bioscope, this film that is playing out in the air as he looks at it. So in this chapter, though it is no longer a leopard, but a he-goat, we note that it is so fast that the prophet sees it flying and not touching the ground. As you can see there is the ram. It is standing on the ground, and the he-goat comes flying up there. It's not touching the ground at all, with its prominent horn there. For sure, when you look at that horn, there is no way that that ram can survive the attack of the he-goat. We also are noting the direction from which the he-goat came. It came from the west here, when the ram was on the east here on your map. Look at your map on the left-hand side of your notes. And from the map, we can clearly see that the Greeks were on the western side of the Persian Empire, which was at the time on the east. So when you look at the number of the Persian cities that revolted from their empire, which is Persia, during the time of the Greek attack. Here they are. Look at the legendary there. These are the Greek and these are the Persian cities that revolted. All of these, when you look at these, and look at these, and look at these, look at this, even this one is, this island is on its own there, but it also revolted against the Persian Empire, and this island is bigger than that one, but it also revolted. You can see clearly that there are so many. I just made circles around there. You can see my circle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are so many of the Persian cities that revolted against their own empire at the time when the Greeks were attacking this empire. So that made it impossible for any Persian ruler to survive this attack. Now, we are noting that indeed it's two horns, the ram's horns, two of them were shattered. We're noting that. And we like this commentary by these other commentaries. They say, the he-goat's attack was striking a death blow to this kingdom which had been instrumental in the return of the Jews. Remember, I said highlight the Hellenization there, Hellenistic league. So, beginning to piece in the pieces together now. So, when you look at this he-goat now, the goat became very great, says the prophet in verse 8. But at the height of his power, his large horn was broken off, and in this place 4 prominent horns grew up towards the 4 winds of the heaven. You can see on the map there that there is Cassander, there is Ptolemy, there is Lysimachus, there is also Seleucus. Those are the 4 horns. Let me explain something about these 4 horns. Didn't want to speak about these, but let's talk about it. There were about 36 of these generals or so. And remember the commentary, the encyclopedia said at the death of Alexander the Great, then his vast territory that he had conquered, it was thrown into a civil war. Civil war, that means it's an internal war now within the Greeks, the Greek Empire. So 36 of these generals were fighting fearlessly, and only 4 emerged as victorious. And they had to say, now, I'm taking the east, you are taking the north, I'm taking the south, I'm taking the west. 4 of them. Those are the 4 directions of heaven, or the 4 directions of the compass, if you know geography. We said there was Cassander on the west, there was Ptolemy on the south, and there was Lysimachus on the east, and there was Seleucus on the north. Those are 4. So, and we noticed something that most Bible commentators, most scholars, they fail this prophecy. They don't understand it that well. What am I saying? Look at this one. This is Steve Road. Steve Road. He says the horn there, or not the horn, he says the goat, the he-goat represented Alexander the Great. No. The he-goat represented the Greek Empire. And the horn, the prominent horn that was broken off, is the one that represented Alexander the Great. And the horn, the prominent horn, was replaced by 4 horns that grew to the east, to the west, to the north, and to the south. I've already explained about that. Now, let's come to verse 9. I will not go further after this one. This is the trickiest part of the prophecy, and we need to tread very, very softly when we come to this one. Maybe I'll end on verse 10 or 11 or see. So we just said that this prophecy gets tricky. All right? Now, let's follow the verse one more, little by little. It says, out of one of them. Who is them now? The 4 horns. All right? Out of one of them. He did not say whether it was Ptolemy, it was Lysimachus, it was Cassander, or Seleucid. He did not say. He said, out of one of them. All right? Came another horn. So a horn gave birth to the horn. And this horn started small, but grew in power to the south. Mark that. That means if it grows to the south, that only means it could come from the north. Let me repeat. The verse says, but grew in power to the south. I'm saying if it grew in power to the south, that means it came from the north, not from the east, not from the west, but from the north, so that it could grow towards the south. And it also went to the east, towards the beautiful land. You remember that thing I said, underline, highlight there, Hellenization? The prophecy begins to touch on it now, but not fully. We're going to explore it very, very well. Now, we are seeing now 4 kingdoms on the head of this goat. All right? Are there 4 kingdoms? No, there are 4 rulers. Kingdom is one, is a goat kingdom, the Greek kingdom. But this now is beginning to change now from being an empire to a republic. We are treading softly, we're getting there. That's where the twist will be. Mark that one. That's what I've said. So when you see now on the left-hand side of your picture, you are seeing that from that head of a goat, there are 4 horns, all right? And out of one of the horns, there grew another horn, which started small, but became bigger and bigger and bigger. And it went towards the south. That is prominent. That is very, very important. And from the south, it also ventured towards the east. Where about the east? It's mentioned specifically towards the beautiful land. Which is a beautiful land? The land of Israel. The land of milk and honey. All right. This is where things get trickier now, my friends. So we need now to mark that so far a lion kingdom is past. And it is followed by a bear kingdom, which is also past. Now there is a leopard kingdom, we're talking about, and we are not yet introduced to the fourth one, but according to Daniel 8, there are only 3 animals. In fact, Daniel 8 doesn't even talk about the first, the lion, doesn't talk about it. It talks about the ram, which is the second, the Medes and the Persians. So remember, the bear, one shoulder up, the ram with one horn longer than the other. Yes, that's where we are. That is just exactly where we are. But let's tread softly. We are currently on the leopard or the he-goat kingdom. Mark that one, currently. He-goat or the leopard kingdom. And suddenly the emphasis shifts from the beasts or from these animals to the horns. Mark that one. Now, the prophecy, the prophet here is now narrating, telling us more, not about the he-goat as such, but about what? He's telling us about the horns. Now, there's something that is going to happen there. There's going to be a shift from the animals to the horns. And another kingdom is going to be introduced now, not by an animal as such, but by a horn. Let's continue. Verse 9, the little horn. Now, this verse is concerned with the little horn. It started small, but grew in power in this contrast with the rest of the horns, in that they are said to be prominent. These are 4 prominent horns, but this one grew out of one of them and started small, very small, but it grew towards the south and towards the east, towards the beautiful land which is on the east. Remember, when it says towards the east, that means now it has changed direction, it's now coming from the west. So this horn does not come out of the head of the goat. No, it comes out of one of the horns. So, can we still associate this horn with the goat? Remember, there have been 4 horns on this goat, all right, so far. But out of one of them, there grew another horn. So, is it the goat's horn? No, it's the horn of the horn, not of the goat. Remember, the goat represents a kingdom, but this one now represents something else, no longer the goat. Notice the subtle transition here from the 3rd kingdom to the 4th kingdom, my friends. From what was given in Daniel 2 verse 40, it will crush and break all others. And in Daniel 7 verse 7, towards the end, it was different from all other beasts. Now we'll explore that uniqueness, that difference. We'll explore. Now, I'm sure now you can see the difference from all the former beasts or former horns. It did not come to power the same way as this. Remember these 4 horns, I said these 4 generals, out of the civil war, they emerged, out of 36, they emerged 4 of them as very prominent, victorious. All right? That means they fought. They took the kingdom the same way as Alexander took the kingdom. But this one does not take the kingdom the same way as the other homes. That marks a distinction, my friends. Just how different was this kingdom then? It was no longer a monarchy, but a republic. Let's look at the founder. I tried to get the picture of the founder there. I tried to get the picture of the founder. I did my best, but I didn't. I'm not saying that is Romulus. No, I'm not saying that. But its founder was Romulus, who was a twin brother who had to kill his twin brother in order to obtain the kingdom. You had to kill him. You kill or be killed. Law of the jungle. And when he had taken the kingdom, he named the kingdom after him, since it is Rome, from Romulus. It is Rome, all right? And it was not a monarchy. No, it was a republic. In 450 BC, says the history.com, it says, the first Roman law code was inscribed on 12 tablets. And these 12 tablets were known as the 12 tablets. And these laws were publicly displayed in the forum, Roman forum, so that everybody should know and familiarize himself or herself with these laws. What was contained in these laws? Let's take a glimpse a little bit. These laws included issues of legal procedures, civil rights, and property rights. Does it sound any? Does it ring any bell to you? It does. Yes, it does. It does ring a bell, because Omalema, they're fighting for the land. Civil rights, our Constitution, Bill of Rights. Yes. So there are those similarities now we can see. That means we are a republic. And if we are a republic, then we are in this 4th kingdom, which was founded by Romulus. And if we say we are a republic, then we are under the Romans. I've talked about property rights, and these laws also provided the basis for all future Roman civil law. As we keep on amending, what is it that we are amending? We are amending the Roman laws. Hence, the laws that govern us in South Africa and in the world, they are indeed the Roman Dutch laws. So by 300 BC, real political power in Rome was centered in the Senate, not on the king, but on the Senate. And that Senate at that time included only members, not a member one, no, members of a patrician group of people and wealthy plebeian families. Hence, even in our parliaments now, ophuwa bangeni, kungena abantu abanephakethe elifumile, wealthy families. I'm just making these comparisons so that you can see in reality that the Bible did predict that we will be in the fourth kingdom, and we are in the fourth kingdom. Let me go on that before you fight me. Now, I will not delve much into this distinction between the kingdom and the empire. I've given the notes there. I won't go too deep into that one. I'm just brushing over. But so far, we can see that an empire is coming and going. An empire isn't static, but the republic is here to stay, the Republic of South Africa is here to stay. So with this sea goat, an empire was shattered and utterly destroyed. What is the difference? Then look at the picture on the left. I've shown you there. A king rules one country or nation, and an empire rules over many countries and many nations. That's just one. The king normally rules by birthrights, and an emperor normally rules by conquest. But the Republican rules by a vote. Let me pass over there. You look into this on your own. I won't disturb you into it. So, with this in mind, we can safely say that when Alexander the Great died, that was the death of an empire as well. The Bible predicted that after him would come kingdoms and not one empire. Having said that, then we need to refine our prophetic keys, my friends. We said a beast represents an empire. All right? So the horn now would represent a king or a kingdom. Let me say that one again, slowly. All along we have said a head represents the ruler. A horn represents also a ruler, since the horn is on the head. But now we have to say a horn also does represent a kingdom in this context only. So this becomes a variable now, variable key. Now, let's look at that one. We're still on verse 9. We haven't come on to verse 10. Once I hit verse 10, I'm going to stop, my friends, and allow us to discuss. But for now, let us make a short revision of Daniel chapter 7. We said a beast, the first beast was a lion, and it had its wings which were torn off, and it was lifted to stand on its hind legs, to stand on them like a man, and the heart of animal, the beast animal was taken out of it, a beast heart, and in its place a human heart was given. And we said that human heart last week, it represents what? Cowardice. We were afraid of these things that we were supposed to rule over them. That is Daniel 7 verse 4. We're done with that one. We're looking now at the second beast, which was a bear, and it was told, remember, a bear was told to eat as much flesh as it can. That beast, which was a leopard, was given authority. Who gives this? It is God in heaven who gives. Remember, he sets up kings and he dethrones them at will, because he is the king of the universe, he is the creator. So he has given 3 so far: the bear, no, the lion, the bear, and the leopard. He gave them. And the fourth beast, the unexplained beast, was neither given any authority to rule nor told what to do. Heaven had no say to that one, took over on its own. Does that? Yeah, it does sound suspicious. Who is this beast? Yes, it does become suspicious. You are right. So it is for that reason we assert that the sooner this kingdom began to rule, then judgment began in heaven, because it was challenging the one seated on the throne. It had no dominion, it wasn't given any dominion, so it usurped the dominion. The fourth beast is illegitimate. It is an illegitimate kingdom. That is why judgment had to sit immediately, and no wonder it fought against the saints of the Most High, and it sought to change the time and the times, and it sought to change the laws of the Most High, and spoke pompously against the Most High God, my God. Yakakamela. Oh, I didn't say that. You didn't hear me say it. Now, remember, it was said that this horn grew towards the south and to the east towards the beautiful land. Remember that? We are there now. It but grew in power to the south and to the east and towards the beautiful land. Benson's commentary says this, mark it. And towards the pleasant land, or the land of Judea, called the pleasant land by the holy writers as being chosen by God for the place of his people's habitation and of his house or temple. That's what Benson says. Benson also continues to say the cruelties which Antiochus Epiphanes exercised in Judea seem to be the primary subject of the following verses. Cruelty. This horn was very, very cruel, my friends, but not to everybody, to us the Jews. Even though we do not agree with most scholars who say this is Antiochus Epiphanes, we do nonetheless acknowledge that Antiochus Epiphanes did a lot of havoc. Yes, we do acknowledge that. But in our time, no, we are not looking for an Antiochus Epiphanes. The commentary, which is called Critical and Explanatory of the whole Bible, suggests that Israel might have called upon themselves for that persecution. Why? Get this one. It says, the sins in Israel, sin as S-I-N, the sins in Israel which gave rise to the Greek Antichrist were that some Jews adopted Hellenistic custom. Remember that Hellenization? Yes. They were now educated. And because they were educated, now they lost their Jewishness. How? Get this one. This one, the commentary continues to say, they lost the Jewish customs by erecting theaters. Theaters which kingdom is known particularly of the theaters? The Romans and the Greeks, of course, but the Romans in most theaters. And regarding all religions alike, as we are saying now, we are said that no, there's no difference between your religion and my religion. We are all the same, we're all saved by the same blood, praise the Lord. But there is a catch, there is a difference, my friend. There is a catch and there's a difference. We're not really the same, because you can't explain this the way we are explaining it, so we're not the same that way. Let's continue. They were also sacrificing to Yahweh, which is good, but at the same time they were sending money for sacrifices to Hercules, foreign god, because these are educated. See, we told you that you are the only chosen people. Others are also chosen. Is that what God told you? So the Bridgeway commentary says this: one of these sectors was centered in Syria. From this sector, there arose many years later a king. There arose many years later a king, a little horn. This king stopped regular sacrifices that the Jews offered each morning and evening. Stopped it. On top of that, it set up Greek idols and a heathen altar in the Holy Temple, and forced the Jews to carry out practices that he knew their law prohibited. Then was God to be just smile and say, my people are now educated, I thank you, my people, for being educated the heathen way? No ways. Now, towards the beautiful land, in light of the great controversy, it becomes clear who the target was and why. If you understand, when we began these books, we said there is a controversy, there is a war between the God of heaven and Lucifer. That's a great controversy. So in that light, you can see now that no, everything that is happening here is targeting God and his people. The Henry's complete commentary on the Bible says this: he could not have done this if God had not permitted him to do it. This could have no power against Israel unless it had been given him from above. God puts this power into his hand and gave him a host against the daily sacrifices. These two seem to agree with the aforementioned activity of this little horn, and that then God was still in control even though he was not acknowledged so. This horn, the human part of this, to a larger degree, was exercising the commandment of heaven. And then he had to abandon it in pursuit of this other commandment that was given. That's why he started small and he moved. And when he did that there, it was terrible. Look on the picture on the right there. You can see Egypt there, Ptolemy. You can see Syria there, Cassandra. You can see, what is this one? I don't see what that one it is, but you can see Syria, that one, but it came like that. The artist didn't say he started towards the south. He said he started towards the east and went to the south. That's what I can see on the picture there. My friends, let me end here for today, and we'll continue next week when we take this story further. I don't want to mix issues now. Let's end right here. May God bless you. Stay tuned. The next one will be just as exciting. I'm hoping you learned something and you will continue learning something. God be with you. Goodbye.